This is Take Charge Your Health with Corinne Furnari, clinical nutritionist, physician assistant, and Carol Petersen, pharmacist. Listen, learn, and I hope you enjoy the show. Bye!
Welcome back. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Corinne Furnari, clinical nutritionist and physician assistant, and my co host, Carol Petersen, pharmacist. Every week, we present you with new and creative ways to help you make sense of health information and bring it home to you and your family. With years of clinical experience between us and research into traditional and cutting edge technologies, we give you practical information to help you take charge of your health.
Hello, hello, hello. Corinne, can you hear me? Reggie, are we
Well,
on?
Carol, look like you have to start the show until Corinne is situated.
Okay, thank you, Reggie. Good afternoon. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Carol Petersen, pharmacist, renegade pharmacist, and certified nutritional practitioner, and Corinne Furnari. She's also a physician assistant and certified in nutrition as well. So we were thinking about introducing some mini topics today. And the topics we were talking about was first and foremost the announcement by the Food and Drug Association that they were taking warning messages, black box warning messages off of hormone products for menopause. This is for menopause only. So the menopause drugs, it's a little unclear exactly which of those are covered, but specifically, they are taking off warnings about breast cancer, about cardiovascular disease, and about dementia that they had placed on those. Corinne, are you here? I think I hear you.
My goodness.
so this is kind of revolutionary. The FDA doesn't backtrack, but this all stems back to the world of the Women's Health Initiative study, and some of the research has been really questioned about that. And subsequently, the products used were Premarin and Provera. They were not bioidentical hormones by any means, but these warning labels now got placed on progesterone. It got placed on, Premarin. I've got progesterone on my brain as usual. so uh, Premarin, Prempro, even with the medroxyprogesterone acetate added to the Premarin estrogens. Actually, it's a little confusing because Premarin is not just estrogen. It's got multitude of hormones, as you might expect coming from pregnant mare's urine. You have estrogen-like hormones, you've got progesterone-like hormones, you have testosterone-like hormones, but about 50% of that product is equivalent to human hormones. The rest is not. So we're introducing some foreign hormones with that. However, we're talking about a situation that they say that millions of women have had their quality of life damaged and maybe even their mortality damaged by these warning labels. Corinne? Corinne seems to be gone again. Okay, so these warning labels, I think, probably feeds some of the issues that were going on with women really having a fear of breast cancer because it's being one of the issues. So we're afraid of breast cancer, and maybe it all stems from those warning things. The other question is, how did those warning labels affect your ability to get hormone therapies when your hormones dropped? Now, I'm a little bit in a quandary here about being excited about this change and or not being so excited. Maybe it isn't the best thing. Why I say it's maybe not the best thing is we have this situation that was kind of prevalent, and even the medical schools are not teaching anybody about what to do with perimenopausal, premenopausal, and um, menopausal women are not getting the attention they deserve. In fact, I hear this all the time. Women go into their physician and they have a lot of symptoms, and their symptoms start being poor quality sleep, rise in anxiety, can be palpitations, can be vasomotor things like um, hot flashes and night sweats. But I will have something to say about that too. I'm not sure that we should attribute all of these things to estrogen. In fact, I'm quite sure you shouldn't, because early on in perimenopause, what really starts to happen is women start missing ovulations. And so the hormone that really gets deficit is progesterone. You no longer have the lovely luteal phase progesterone. And on top of that, if you have um, any kind of stress in your life prior to this, and really you have been stressed out for long periods of time or acute stress, your adrenal backup is not there. Hello, I hear you again.
Oh my goodness. I'm never going to prepare the first end of this of the show because when I'm prepared,
When you're prepared, off it goes.
off it
So,
goes. So where
so
are we? Because I've got lots to share.
okay, so we're talking about the FDA warning label on estrogens, particularly, but um, it does cover menopausal hormone therapies. So there can be some non-human identical kind of estrogens in here, but we had some trouble because these warnings were also put on like the estradiol patch, nice bioidentical formula. It was put on any kind of vaginal insert, ring, or whatever that had estradiol. Those warnings were there. And I think it's created a culture where women are afraid of breast cancer. This warning is now coming off. We've had a number of researchers and what Estrogen Matters book were pointing out that the breast cancer fears about estrogen are unfounded. So now we're going to take off the warning. I think it was cardiovascular disease, breast cancer, and dementia from estrogen therapies, which as the research is evolving, it doesn't look like this is the case at all, and is preventing women from having access, either because their physicians have bought into it or they themselves have some fear because of the warning labels and the fears, particularly about breast cancer, I would say. Corinne?
I think the fears were created. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Thank goodness. I think the fears were created, and I find that very frustrating because on a follow up study, we found a 25 to 50% reduction in fatal cardiovascular events. We found a staggering 90% reduced risk of bone fractures alongside a 50% to 60% reduction in osteoporosis risk, as well as a reduced risk of dementia. and we found that, what year was it? What year was the
WHI, I don't remember.
WHI? It was around
Because then studies trickled out in little
exactly.
pieces.
Exactly. And so it's very unfair that it's taken this long. And fear of hormones and fear of hormonal balance really interferes with health. I'll tell you, when this first study came out, the women's study in 2000, women were hysterical. I had a woman that her doctor had been telling her, "You've got to get on hormones. You've got to get on hormones. You've got to get on hormones." Finally, she came to me. She got on hormones. She was feeling great. The study came out, and what happened? Her doctor was yelling at her, "Get off the hormones. Get same doctor. Get off get off the hormones. Get off the hormones." When this study first came out, I gave a talk, and when they advertised my talk, and it was a talk in a health food store on the Upper West Side, big health food store, and we advertised it. The place was packed, standing room only, because people were so confused. So I started to speak, and I started to explain the flaws at that time that I saw in this study. And that was, they were still limited. There are more flaws to come year after year after year. But I saw the flaw. I tried to explain the flaws and tried to explain. And then I said, if you're very fearful, I would recommend doing estriol. There's no negative studies on estriol, and they will help balance you, and you will not have to go through all these sometimes horrendous effects of menopause. And a woman got up in the back of the audience and started yelling at me. Yeah. This was the first time it ever happened. I've never had this before or since. And she started yelling, "I came here to get alternatives. What right do you have to be telling me to keep on hormones?"
Mhm.
So I was recommending estriol and natural progesterone.
Right.
We didn't even understand yet the complete comparison between progestin. Well, I understood the difference between progestins and progesterone, but in relationship to the study. And then the talk I gave herbals that might support her, but she wasn't listening. She was in terror. And
Right.
that's
Right.
what happens when these studies come out and where they're not peer reviewed, and they click into people's fears.
Oh,
And
they were peer reviewed, but they had a particular message, and it was ominous. But I think the whole thing was really fanned by the media into a sort of frenzy,
right,
and
exactly. But
and that
so go on.
and that was the bigger problem. It's not possible for people to go back and dig through studies and learn new terminology to do their own evaluation. So they were very susceptible to the media um, on this. So women started avoiding hormones. They really did. Even the bioidentical hormone compounding was affected.
Oh,
So
totally.
totally. Although people said, "Oh, it was good for hormone compounding because people just went over to do that." No, they didn't. They carried that fear right along with them and applied it to all hormone therapies. But I do have a fear. Here is my fear. I I see this estrogen centric view
Yes.
of perimenopause,
Mhm.
menopause.
Mhm.
And I want to talk about vasomotor things. Premarin actually was approved for helping vasomotor activity by the FDA. But I would also mention again, I just spoke previously, it's more than estrogen, it's more things. So, what I am seeing is that in early perimenopause, estrogen has not dropped. Dr. Jerry Lynn Pryor has published on that. Women in their perimenopause years have the most estrogen in their entire lifespan. At the same
Really?
time, yep, at the same time, they're missing ovulation. So they miss a whole big hunk of progesterone they ought to have. So, when you're early in perimenopause and you're having hot flashes, um, the doctor is going to rely on that FDA approval of Premarin for vasomotor things and say, oh, you need estrogen. They do no measurements. They just ipso facto, you need estrogen, when it's actually, you've got plenty of estrogen there and you want a lot of progesterone to help you balance all that. And you're going to be good for years till estrogen finally does drop closer to menopause. So people
It
are
took
they're going in now. We've kind of
to
had
get
this
estrogens.
and getting estrogen, and it's making them worse. So I
Well,
first,
on some levels, it's making them worse, but the immediate response is a reduction of hot flashes. That's real. That the hot flashes are reduced. Also, it's interesting what you said, because I do blood tests, and I've done blood tests, and I didn't see the highest level of estrogen in perimenopausal people.
oh
I
yeah,
see unopposed estrogens. I don't
uh,
know how she's taking her test. I see
uh,
unopposed estrogens, but I don't see the numbers so staggeringly high or even high.
yeah, I see it. I see it in some women, definitely.
Well, yeah, but rare, but not
Yeah,
not commonly.
800, 900.
I
Um,
I
a
don't see
peak
that.
or yeah, I see that. Heavy
I don't
bleeders
know
would
what
have
lab
that.
you. Uh-huh.
Same one you're using. So,
Okay.
so no,
So
I have definitely seen that women have plenty of estrogen, and if they're giving estrogen on top of that, their estrogen imbalance is even greater. So I worry about that, and we have this kind of revolution going
so
on. It's like some doctors, like Mary Claire Havers. I think we talked about her. Wrote a book called The New Menopause, and what they're talking about is we've got to stop ignoring the early perimenopause women, and we need to treat them. Now, all the treatments that they're suggesting, as she did in her
have
book,
estrogen.
they have estrogen or they have synthetics, and they're even, guess what? They're even promoting now, they want birth control pills to be approved for menopausal hormone treatment.
And that's
And
estradiol and progestins.
and no, it's
Uh,
a synthetic estradiol too. It's ethanol estradiol, and actually with the abnormal clots, thrombocytopenia is highly associated with ethanol estradiol, and next high
and
one is the
progestins.
right
So you're walking up, and the next study is going to show all this elevated uh, clots as a result of hormones, which really aren't hormones.
they're not even real
They're not
hormones.
even real hormones.
I
So
liked when we talked to Dr. Weeks. He brought up that old commercial. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
so let me just. What time is it? Okay, let me just tell you what we had planned for today, and then maybe we can get back to it. First of all, you can get questions to us. One plan for today was to talk to our listeners, which is very important to us. We miss you when we don't hear from you, and both of us. So the number to call is 212-209-2877, 212-209-2877. But you also can get questions to us through a live stream that's happening right now on YouTube. It's called Take Charge of Your Health Radio, and you type it in and it will get directly to us and we will attempt to answer it. So you can get questions to us in two ways: by 212-209-2877 and or by YouTube, which is live stream, so you can see us arguing and not arguing and agreeing. And
Yeah.
that is Take Charge of Your Health Radio. And we're on right now live. And also, we wanted to also speak about something came out on melatonin, on how melatonin, what exactly, how did they put it? That melatonin given to people increases the risk of death in people over long term cardiovascular, but all forms of death with in long term taking it at night for sleep. Now, there's a few flaws in this. First of all, it's not peer reviewed, zippity doo dah. Second of all, it not only is it not peer reviewed, they didn't tell us a dose. There
Yeah, I
was
was
no,
looking for that just
no,
as we were
no,
going.
they didn't
Yeah,
tell us.
what's the
And
dose on this sucker? I
hello,
think
and it,
it was a large group though, 164,000
yeah,
people
but
that
it's a
they reviewed.
retrospective study.
Right.
And they
Right.
also didn't screen for different cardiovascular problems before starting the study. And so it's a retrospective study. It's looking at charts, and they don't tell you doses. They don't tell you the amount of time individually that each of these people. Then they talk about a 90% increase. 90%. Whoa. But that's 90% of a 1.7%. So what does that
Yeah,
work out
the
to be?
absolute risk versus relative risk, and you use the
It's
relative risk numbers, it balloons it into huge numbers. When
exactly.
if you look at absolute risk, you go from one person in 100,000 to two people in
Oh,
100,000.
that's
You
100% increase.
that's a
Oh
hundred
my
percent.
goodness, I'm terrified.
So
So,
that
there's causation and there's association. Now, there might be some association, but so I went on to um, PubMed and I said, wait a minute, let me type in the studies that prove cardiovascular support with melatonin. Oh my goodness. This was one study. I got multiple studies, and one really beautiful study explaining this says that melatonin is an antioxidant, it's an anti inflammatory, it's a cardiovascular protector, it assists endothelial function. That means circulation and the working in the inner veins and arteries. It's an anti-atherogenic, so it helps people with arthritis, and it's a blood pressure reducer. What do you think, Carol?
well, I'm going to divert this a little bit because I have an idea of why this might show up this way. And so we have a group of people, been having trouble sleeping. they're not making their own melatonin, so they're supplementing. Okay, so what do you need to make melatonin with? The final and most important step is methylation.
Method.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you have a group of people who are poor methylators, and this is not an unusual occurrence, they say 40 and some even say 60% of the population have either very bad methylation or poor methylations, some kind of impaired methylation. So what else needs to be methylated? Homocysteine, which is a very inflammatory molecule. You can get this tested on your metabolic tests. And if a homocysteine is high, it's not getting methylated. So some say that homocysteine is probably one of the most important things to look at because it's such an irritating molecule that it damages your blood vessels. And that's the start of the whole plaque kind of scenario.
Inflammatory plaque
Yeah,
and clot and
right.
clotted.
And soft clots and hard, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually the plaque gets calcified. But think about this: if this particular a large group of people, and it's possible given how common this is, couldn't methylate very well. So I would like to go back to those charts, see what their homocysteine was before I jump to the conclusion that melatonin's the enemy. What I think is you're putting a patch
Exactly.
on a methylation problem, and you need to dig a little bit deeper. So it's
I
kind of
will.
help.
I'll bet my house
You'll bet your
on the
house that
fact. I'll bet my house on the fact that less than 1% have a homocysteine level in those charts.
you think so. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they don't have them. They don't take that. They don't take that reading. They don't put it in. It's not standard. It's very unusual. You have to request it and then request it again and then demand it to get it taken,
We
unless
put
you're
all our interest in cholesterol, and we've got cholesterol divided into 20 tests now. But they're not looking at one of the things that starts the whole process in the first place, that very irritant homocysteine molecule.
good thing I don't have to lose my house.
Yeah. Just-
So the number to call is 212-209-2877 or write us, type us a question on Take Charge of Your Health Radio, and that is YouTube. Also, when you're there, subscribe. Put your name down, subscribe, so that you get notices when the shows are coming up. And it's always nice to do. I always like to see people when they're talking. It kind of makes it more alive, and it allows you to participate on a different level. So then, is there anything else we want to say on Miller? Oh, yes, I want to say one other thing. Carol and I, years ago, we went to we went to
a
a
conference.
conference,
One of
and
Frank Schellenberger's conferences.
yeah, writer. What is his first name? He's
Russ Reiter,
Russ,
Reiter, and he wrote a book about melatonin. He's a
and he,
lifelong researcher on
yeah,
melatonin at the University of San Antonio. Is where he did all his research. And
over 50 years of research.
at the time, he said it's one of the safest molecules you could encounter. And he recommended taking melatonin, get some powder, and take it by the teaspoonful
Now,
as an antioxidant.
yes, and he is taking it by the teaspoonful, and he was doing a little dance on the stage at
And
80
he's,
years old, showing
yeah,
off, and he's doing it again. He's probably in his 90s now, and the
probably.
same thing. Um,
So I did run into him again at another meeting. He was talking about melatonin again, but he was no longer saying the teaspoonful, But he said really from 60 milligrams to 180 milligrams you should have daily.
Yeah, someone wrote in on YouTube. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, I see
60
it.
to 100. Well, guess what? I just saw a study in looking up this up. 100 to 1,000 milligrams when people have COVID has been tested with positive results with no side effects.
And large doses has been used in breast cancer treatment. I think doses were like 200 milligrams several times per day.
And it
And
reduces breast cancer recurrence. And that
and
has been well documented.
yeah, and also has been documented for helping with hair loss at larger doses.
Oh, well, I better start taking it higher then. So we just got, do you want to
But
read it? Do you want me to? One
but
fourth.
this is this is a little detailed. I wonder if it would be better if we answered her personally on the website. It's a little off of our topic, and I would like to give her a longer answer if it's possible.
That's
And
fine.
then it's quite personal, so I think we should just cover it on the site. I'll go back and answer her question. Thank you for posting that there. I'll look after it after the show.
Okay. And there were three subjects that we were going to bring up today. One was the box warning on hormones. Two was the melatonin article. I'm not even going to grace it with a called a study because it's totally inappropriate. It it's pre-published, and so I was very disappointed in it because the hormone that does so much benefit for so many, and now they're trying to create fear behind it. But the last one was creatine.
Yep.
Well, why are girls talking about it? Isn't it just for bodybuilders? You can take it away and I'll take it next, Carol.
Okay. So creatine is made in your body naturally and has quite a lot to do with maintaining your muscle mass. And recently, there have been some things published about how good it is for your brain function as well. So, creatine has to do with your ATP production. ATP is the energy molecule produced in your mitochondria. So that's really important. But one of the things I've been following when I talk with clients, I like to get a big metabolic panel, and I like to get hormones in there too. But I always look at creatinine, and creatinine is the metabolite of creatine. And so when creatinine is on the low side, less than the half point in the range, I like to suggest that you use creatine to help make more creatinine on your test. But why is this important? And this almost coincides with melatonin. When I was talking about the methylation of melatonin, the body's SAMe is involved in making melatonin. Well, guess what? The same thing happens with creatine. Creatine uses up important methylation factors, SAMe in the lead here, to make more creatine. So it's actually called a methyl sink. And that means it's using up methylation groups. Methylation groups are a piece that the liver will put onto a molecule to make it disposable. So hormones are methylated, adrenaline is methylated, histamine is methylated. So when these are problem areas for you, one of the things you can do to support yourself is put in some extra creatine. So your body has a source without having to pull some of the other methyl groups in your body that you would like to be getting to metabolize some of these other things.
So creatine is an amino acid combination. It's made from arginine, glycine, and methionine, which is important to understand. Any one of those in deficiency will block the body's ability to make creatine. Creatine helps us tolerate heavy exercise. So that's why the weightlifters are using it. But it also helps recovery. It also increases our strength or assists us in increasing our strength. It also um, helps us, but not abnormally, increase the size of our muscles, and it recycles ATP in the mitochondria. And that is a really important piece to understand, that it has access and it then recycles the energy. So the energy is able to be maintained. But it's not only in the muscle, that energy maintenance is also in the brain. So they're seeing that people have more focus, can concentrate better, have better physical energy as well, mental acuity when they're using creatine. Now, I, for years, many years ago, thought that creatine was for men and that really wasn't necessary for women. But in actuality, it's for all of us. Just like, you know, it's non binary. So, so both can use it. The dose is interesting. When for someone like you and me, Carol, who are heavy exercisers, some days you can do 3 to 5 milligrams. You buy it in a scoop.
It's grams.
Grams, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
3 to 5 grams. The scoop that comes in the package, because it's usually a powder, is 5 grams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're heavy exercising, you can use 10 or 10 to 3 times a day. But with us, we'd probably use 3 to 5 grams a day. And what type do you use, Carol?
Oh, creatine monohydrate is the one to look for. Most of
Mhm.
the studies are also done on this. My recommendation to people is 1 to 4 scoops daily, all the way up to 20 grams.
You go up to even with not heavy exercising, people
Yes,
who are not
yes.
exercising very
Now, 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 there's some caveats here
okay.
for 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 the bigger doses. So recently, this is not the best reference in the world, but this somebody on some Instagram reel was bringing up that they did a study about creatine in the brain, and it had amazing effects when the study was done. They did several different doses, but the best dose for the brain was actually 20 grams. And with that 20 grams, they said if you were sleep deprived, if you took 20 grams of creatine, you would your brain would now have enough energy so you wouldn't suffering from that sleep deprivation. However, now let's look at the other end, back down where you were at. I spoke to a woman. She's a health coach, and she's particularly helping people lose weight. And she recommends creatine, but her doses would be 1 to 3 grams per day.
Well,
And
that's
why do
pretty low.
that's pretty low? And why does she do that? She said people get bloated with
So,
creatine,
yes, that can be a
and
side effect.
yeah. So she said, I don't want my clients calling me up and saying I gained 5 kilos overnight. So she sticks to the very, very small doses. However, I have heard that the bloating that creatine can cause can wear off. That you can have that as you start initially, but eventually that goes.
Uh, well, you have to understand that creatine is from meat products, and that's where it is from. But um, oh,
2 callers holding.
okay, one more second.
Okay.
But it takes 1.3 kilograms, so that's 1.3. So that's 3 pounds of beef to make 5 grams of creatine. That is, so you're eating quite a bit of beef to just get a basic dose. And creatine, when you're purchasing it, it's vegan, and yet you're getting the benefit of finishing up your protein. So, hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hi, how are you? My name is Deborah. I live in Connecticut, Stratford, Connecticut.
Hey,
And
Welcome.
I've
Deborah.
heard, yes, I want to thank you so much for your great information. And
Thank
I
you.
listened to both of your programs about progesterone for men.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know, my husband has an enlarged prostate,
Yes.
and we've been to the urologist, and they want to schedule him for surgery to reduce the size. And I'm wondering, how long does it take if you're using the progestin to reduce the size?
No, progesterone.
Oh, the progesterone, yes. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
please.
So it's not going to be overnight. It takes time. I think I saw Dr. William Clearfield quote some information on how long it took, but it was quite successful in reducing the volume of the prostate gland by a fair amount. Dr. Michael Platt recommends 2 to 300 milligrams of progesterone, either applied to the perineum or do a suppository and put it rectally for shrinking the prostate. So I would be generous. What pushes the prostate to enlarge? That's an estrogen and a metabolic glucose insulin problem. So if you can work on those fronts, just to make sure that he's not loaded up with estrogen and that his insulin and glucose are balanced, so he's not insulin resistant, would be another good thing to do here.
Now, the
Oh,
question though is how severe are his symptoms? So I would add to that protocol two things. I would add an excellent herbal. We know that herbals can be very beneficial in shrinking relatively rapidly. Saw palmetto, um, africanus, Pygerium africanus, um, and you mix that with zinc, and you start them on that instantly while you're also starting the progesterone, because you want to work from all fronts. You want
Mhm.
this and then in the progesterone, I say this every time that we talk about it, I would put a drop or two of Lugol's iodine, because
say
that
that again.
Lugol's, Lugols iodine.
Okay, Lugols.
So
Iodine.
you're mixing all of that together. So you're utilizing the progesterone, which is very important because it's blocking the conversion of the hormone into estrogen. You're bringing down your blood sugar. Okay, so I would be on a keto diet at least for a month, if not for longer. So that's no sugars, right? And start it right now because Thanksgiving's coming.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then do the herbals. And there's some wonderful herbal products out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for your call. Call us
Okay,
back
Yeah.
okay,
and let us know how your husband is doing.
and I can check your website or the website to purchase that progesterone.
Yeah. Yes.
Either of us
Yeah.
and or Platt, all of the above. You want the
Yes, I
stronger
appreciate
one. You want the
it.
stronger
Okay,
one, not the weaker one.
stronger. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for
Love your
calling.
program. Okay.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hi, this is Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi,
How can we
I know
help
you.
you?
Well, I was watching the internet the other day. Big, big problem. This ad came on for a certain product, and it seems like the fountain of youth. It's recent research by a doctor who has affiliation with Johns Hopkins or whatever, and Cambridge, and he's also a researcher. So, the product. I know you don't usually do product reviews. But the theory of the product is that there is, in many people, sugar problems, and it starts with the pancreas, and the pancreas has parasitic problems. So he has this visualization of these parasites on his ad, and he says, well, if you take this product, which includes berberine, resveratrol, and cinnamon, and a couple others, it's like a parasite killer, and it'll normalize blood sugar, which will eliminate the causes of death for the big three. Now, that sounds like the fountain of youth to me, but, he says it's recent research, and he's selling it at quite a big price. So I got this, light bulb going off for Christmas because I have got a number of relatives and children. I thought about buying a blister pack of it and seeing if it lowers their blood sugar. But the name of the product, can I say the name of the product?
I don't know.
Yes.
We're confused about this.
Okay, so I'd like to comment. First of
Yeah,
all, berberine. Do you know what kind of dose of berberine is in that
yeah.
product?
See, when you have a combined
And
product,
and berberine
very,
is
it,
antifungal
it's
or
wonderful.
anti-parasite, but it also helps insulin sensitivity.
And,
So you're
and
helping the
blood
metabolic
sugar.
problem. Yeah, but what's the dose in your product would be
So
more
very,
helpful.
very often when you have a combined product like that, this, and you read them, and every single thing on the list is wonderful. Often there's no amounts because they say at the end proprietary formula, and or since they are such good products, they're expensive to put together, and so they skimp on the amount or the quality of the product or of the herbal or the supplement or whatever. So it sounds wonderful. I love berberine. I love cinnamon. What else was there? What else? Oh, resveratrol.
That's all.
What? All of those are very, very good. I can't comment on someone else's quality control. I used to work with a lab from Europe, and they used to be, it's called European Laboratory of Nutrients. And they used to go along and they used to check quality control, check different supplements. People would send their supplements to them to be checked, to be certified. That was really a pleasure because I really got to know companies that are excellent and fanatical in terms of quality control. And there is quite a variability ratio in quality control. So thank you for your call.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry we can't help you on that product, but guess what, Carol?
What? We're close to the end again.
Here we go.
Oh.
And the fun is just beginning. Just beginning.
Yes.
I love it when people start calling in and sharing their concerns and wanting some understandings of what they're facing or what they're dealing with. It's such a joy. So, Carol, what do you want to share?
Okay, I want to share my
You got 1 minute
website
and a
website
half.
and you My website and YouTube, the Wellness by Design Project. And we have a Facebook group, Take Charge of Your Health with Corinne and Carol. And Corinne, go ahead.
And my website is Corinne Health, Corinne, one R, two N's, Corinne Health, or Furnari Health, both of them. And then we have the YouTube, Take Charge of Your Health, and we're putting more and more
Radio.
radio.
Take Charge of Your Health radio. You got to have the radio.
And it's also, our shows are archived on WBAI, which is always a good thing to do, to go on the website and listen, all of the above. And they're archived on our Facebook. And so we're around, and we love hearing from you. You can write to us on our Facebook and we get back to you. We're following whatever comes in on Facebook, and we respond, either Carol or I, quite rapidly. We also have a group that we put together that's really doing very well, and that's called Progesterone for Men Facebook. So there's a lot of information on that group site. No advertising, just information. So I want to thank you for being here with us. Oh, James, we missed you. But we didn't have a book.
Okay.
And we'll be back next week. And thank you so much, Reggie. Thank you for your help. And thank you so much, Jeremy. And we'll be back next week, Carol.
Bye. And thank you to our callers, and thank you for listening.
I always learn.